PM Express tonight, the second coming of John and his attempt to resurrect the New Patriotic Party. He was once the General Secretary. He was kicked out by young, at the time untested, John Boadu. And as you know by now, that man had gone on, he's lost an election, and as we see now, John Boadu says he now wants to return. This time, he wants to return as a General Secretary. So, he's my guest tonight. A few things we need to talk about when we sit for a conversation. The MPP leadership race. And this contest is happening just at the same time that the party's aspirants are also waging a significant fight over who leads the party into the 2028 elections as flag bearer. So everything is really cooking up to be a very interesting 2026 for the MPP. And John Boadu is there. I'm going to pick his thoughts on that leadership race. And then they have the 2028 flag bearership contest itself. I wonder if he has a horse in this race, seeing that for the very first time, the flag bearer will be elected before the chairman is elected, which is a position that he's vying for. We'll talk about the MPP constitutional amendments that went on recently and where he stood on some of the key changes that happened and whether it would take them to the promised land in 2028. The controversial subject of the Chief Justice's removal is there. He himself was part of the protesters recently when they raised alarm about the independence of the judiciary on the back of Gertrude Torkornoo's removal. I'll pick his thoughts on that. And then, oh boy, the corruption cases, the jaw-dropping corruption allegations leveled by the Attorney General and the Office of the Special Prosecutor against a number of MPP former appointees. It just makes for a blockbuster Hollywood movie. I'll pick his thoughts on those as well. And then his vision for leadership of the New Patriotic Party. He must give me his thoughts on the last 10 months of this current administration, how they fared, and whether or not they stand a chance. I mean, the MPP stand a chance. If the wins that the John Mahama administration is currently chalking under the watch, as far as the economy is concerned, of Dr. Keseya Latifose, if that continues, do they stand a chance? And will they be hoping that the NDC will slip up a bit and then they can take advantage of that? He's my guest tonight. John Boadu, you know him, General Secretary once, lost that. He went into the wilderness, he went to Siga, he's seeking to make a return. He's not the only one seeking to make a return. There are a few very interesting names on the list of the chairmanship contest. Paul Afoko is the name that rings a bell. I'll pick his thoughts on him and others. Stay with me here on PM Express. My guest, John Boadu. And thanks for staying with us here on PM Express. My guest is John Boadu, and he's in the studio with me in PM Express. As always, brought to you by Syntex Tanks. It is strong, it is tough. Also brought to you by Academic Times and Pepsodent Cavity Fighter. Remember that tonight, if you're looking for a water tank, you don't have to look far. Just look for the tortoise on that tank. It's simple. If your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, then it isn't the correct tank. That's right, the tortoise tank, Syntex Tanks, is the champion of water tanks. It is strong, it is durable, and built to handle our Ghanaian weather. Call them across the country and look for them. They are strong, they are tough indeed. And in Economic Times Journal is launching pretty soon. Look out for them, the distinctive graphic publication that will showcase and empower students across all educational levels, while the journal will also seek to ensure that tertiary students' research makes an impact. Look for them when they are launched. And then tonight, before you sleep, look for the Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, because as you know by now, when you eat food, sugars are trapped between your teeth, leading to tooth decay, gum disease, and in some cases, foul breath also. And so when you do not brush with the correct toothpaste, then you know you are in trouble. Pepsodent Cavity Fighter gives you your teeth the protection it needs. 10 times stronger teeth is what you're guaranteed when you use it. John Boadu is my guest in the studio. He's a former General Secretary of the party. He's now aspiring to be the national chairman of the NPP. And I was telling him just before he came on air, he's the second coming of John. And, you know, John, thank you for joining us on PM Express. Yeah. I mean, you've been General Secretary. In fact, I'm just looking at your CV just before we came on air. You've done everything. You've done the General Secretary. You have been the youth organizer of the party. You've actually been, even at the grassroots level, you've served the party. You've risen through the ranks all the way to General Secretary. So I was curious a bit, well, why do you want to be chairman of the party? You've served your lot. you should just simply enjoy retirement and give your knowledge to the rest who are still in charge of the party.
Thank you very much. Good evening to your cherished viewers. It is precisely the reason why I want to be the national chairman of the party. Having gone through the mail, right from polling station, constituency, regional research and elections, accountant for the party, national youth treasurer, national youth organizer, national organizer, acting as general secretary, and also becoming the substantive general secretary, gives me vast experience, vast knowledge about how the party should run and must run. You understand? And so if I become national chairman of the party, I provide a vision and supervise the running and operational activities of the party. Having gone through all the phases of the party, I'll be able to monitor and make sure that proper evaluation of the work of the plan that we've done is successfully implemented. And I think that I'm in a position that understand almost all the departments of the party. I've been deputy director of communication and all that. And more especially too, if you look at the state of the party now. One, the party now, as we speak, have 0 seats in 4 constituencies. Have won 1 seat in 5 regions. Put together 9 regions, we only have 5 seats. These 9 regions are made up of 98 constituencies. So you can imagine, 98 constituencies, you only have 5 seats. You can't just go into another election without properly strategizing and targeting. And if you are targeting these, because, for instance, right from 1992, every party that wins the presidential elections obviously wins majority in parliament. What it means is that if we can win the 2028 elections, it means that we must win majority in parliament. As we speak, we have 86. For us to be able to win majority in parliament, it means that we must win all the 86, 87 that we have, and add close to 53 seats, additional seats to the 87.
No party has had to come back from that far back.
We've done that before.
In 1996.
We did that in 1996. We even did that in 2016, for instance. But that took 122.
So 1992, of course, you said this was stolen verdict, and then you have the 1996, and then you did that in 2000.
We did that in 2000. We did that also in 2016.
But except that the dynamics...
We had 122.
The dynamics had changed. The voter then had vastly changed now. I'm sure you know.
But that's why...
The Ghanaian has become more savvy.
If it changes, that's why you must also change your strategies.
Okay. And you think that you have that?
From where I'm coming from, and from what I've done before, proven track record of delivery, from my understanding of the changing political situation, changing dynamics in terms of voter preference. I think that it's important that we get somebody who understands these things, who will be able to strategize towards ensuring that critical decisions, targeting of the constituencies are done in a manner that will inure to our benefit.
You know,
I believe that I'm in for that.
November 8th, when you announced that you're going to run, you delivered what I believe to be a statement, if you like. In there, you sort of diagnosed the problem that you want to fix. And I want to break it down a few, because you said some fascinating things there. One is that we must admit that the party, quoting you, has lost touch with many vital stakeholders that once stood firmly with us. I'm curious, who are these stakeholders?
Obviously, when you mention MPP, what comes to mind is an elite party. When you mention MPP...
Property owning.
Yes, of course. When you mention MPP, what comes to mind is made up of the middle class. You mention MPP, what comes to mind are the business-oriented people. When you mention MPP and you are talking about where institution of higher learning, we win all the seats there, all the constituencies there, all the polling stations. I remember when I was national youth organizer, we won all the polling stations in all the tertiary institutions, including whole polytechnic. These things have changed. And they have changed because of certain events that has occurred.
Let me learn about them. Well, what events exactly have
For
caused
instance,
you
if
to
you
lose
take the
that
middle
touch?
class, in addition to other factors, DDEP did not help us much. I want to believe that the communication of it and its implementation didn't go very well, to the extent that you have a whole former Chief Justice picketing. You should have taken the president or the vice president to have gone there to speak with them. And these are people who the bulk of them are from our stock. So eventually, if you are talking about those affected close to 800,000, at least about 80% of them will be members of the New Patriotic Party. And these are people who have dependents, who have people they are looking after, they have children that they are looking after. So obviously, it is not surprising to see that our votes, even though we didn't get it, it didn't also go to the NDC. And that accounted for the difference between 2020 votes and 2024 votes. Normally, we say it's 2.1. Even that is too on the minimal. Because one, between 2020 and 2024, 1 million additional voters joined the register, the electoral roll. Where was that vote? It didn't go to the NDC. It didn't come to the MPP. It means that there are a lot of work to be done. We are getting new voters that are a bit sophisticated. They are not following the traditional political influencing attitude of the country. Their icons are Shatawale and Co. That is what their views are. So the hard politics, digitization, infrastructure development, road development, they don't really care so much about it. And these are huge numbers. For instance, I did a little check during the weekend. We are expecting the Western region alone, not less than 230,000 new voters will join the electoral roll in 2028. These are people between the ages of 14 to 18. To what extent are you shepherding them around to the time that they will even register to vote? You understand? So there's new way of thinking now. There's new way of politicking in the manner that you can attract these people. I tell you, I experienced some events about 2-3 weeks ago. I was buying petrol at a petrol station. All of a sudden, there are these young guys, almost about 50 of them, riding petrol. What's happening? I said, oh, Shatawale is celebrating his birthday. I said, so what? I said, we've been there. Apparently, they've been there since morning. I tried to follow up and check. By the time I couldn't even enter through either parliament or through lotteries. The whole place is filled. Which political party in this country can, without organizing, providing buses, providing resources, get the kind of dedicated followership that Shatawale did? It should tell you that now politics have changed.
But it isn't also because now Ghanaians have become disillusioned with politicians and politics?
Not necessarily.
Because of the history of boom and bust, the misconduct, the corruption, the mismanagement of the economy, all that has contributed to us is simply not trusting you lot.
Not necessarily. If that was so, when Shatawale was accused of the challenge that he had with Yoko, the youth will not go there. If that was so. It is the interests that have changed and the mass numbers of people and where they are looking at. Political parties are not redesigning their programs and activities towards these changing concerns of the youth. And I think it's important. And the numbers are huge. Because
so how do you fix that? Because you want to lead a party as a chairman. You've identified a problem. How do you fix it? How are you proposing to fix it?
First of all, it means that we must also identify their icons. We must identify those who influences them. I know there are a few influencers in this country, young people that have close to 5 million followership. And they do it, some of them organize programs on their own, and the numbers are huge.
So if you identify them, then how does that lead to solving the problem for the MPP?
That one, I think we'll look at it.
Are you going to call them into the party?
We'll look at it in much details, because there are ways of reaching out to them and making sure that
you're selling your idea to the delegates who are watching you tonight.
I'm telling you.
You've identified the problem. You have to convince them that you have the solution to the problem you've identified.
You must also remember that we are in a competitive environment. So in looking at this and
you think somebody will steal your idea, yes?
Obviously, we don't have to go into details as to what's to be done. But I know how dealing with these young guys, selling our messages and making our message not too hard, as soft as they want it, we'll be able to get to them. And it is an area that by the year 2028, ages between 18 to around 36, 40 will be about 60% of them.
I'm so curious about this because I want to drill down to, so what is the solution that John Boadu is proposing that makes him unique from the rest of the contenders?
The solution is to get into their arena and their interests and deal with them.
Are you going to get Shatawale to join the MPP?
If possible, why not? If you can get other people...
And campaign for you?
Not necessarily hard campaign, but passing through our messages through these...
But you actually did that in 2024. You did that with the King Paluta, whose song was loved at the time. I mean, even Shatawale's song at the time before the election.
You need to do more.
And yet you still lost by a historic margin. So that isn't the solution.
No, I'm saying that you need to do more of that.
More of what cost you the defeat?
No. You need to do more of that by nurturing these youthful people.
But you did that.
And that's not necessarily.
King Paluta was driving the youth. It got so many to your rallies.
Let me tell you.
Your Bawumia danced to it.
You don't even need to get.
And yet you lost by more than 1 million votes.
I'm saying that it's not even necessary to have them at your rallies. You need to meet them at where they are. You need to be able to tap them with their interests and not necessarily bring them on your political platforms. And it is important that we look at that. You can now see that academia, for instance, it looks like the NDC...
I think you've lost the ground there.
Is having a lot of them as we speak now. Many of these people don't need so much. It's not a bad appointment. Sometimes, they've given them appointment. Many of them just need recognition. Many of them need that touch, that belonging touch of the party to be able to get, because many of them want to be seen as the ones who are even reviewing your programs, reviewing your policies, and getting that acknowledgement for doing that.
It's fascinating you say that about academia. In 2016, when JM lost, at the time it was also a historic defeat. Do you remember the Kwesi Botcho report? One of the things they identified...
Well, they deny it all the time, so I don't know whether...
Oh, I mean, but they admit it later on, when now they admit it.
Oh, is that...
The Kwesi Botcho report actually identified that one of the reasons why they lost was a disconnection with the intelligentsia at the time, that they didn't have enough intellectual base and that they needed to grow that deliberately. To think that in 8 years, they have consistently position themselves, rebranded, to be very attractive, which is what you're confirming now to that intelligentsia and the intellectual community and academics. It's fascinating, is it not, that whilst they were growing in that area, MPP was doing the reverse.
See, there's nothing new in this our political terrain. Reasons for losing elections, particularly by certain governments, have been the same throughout the years. Apathy, corruption, tag, arrogance of governments not delivering per what the citizens are looking at. And all these are issues that comes up every 4 years, every 8 years. It depends on how well you are able to manage it, that will inure to your benefit or otherwise. So it is not strange that so far they've been able to go around it. And you know what we call incumbency advantage and disadvantage. The moment you are in government, as we speak now, NDC is in government, their MPs should be happy. But I can tell you, the MPs are not happy.
Why?
Why? Because as per the Constitution, majority of their ministers should come from Parliament. Is that not it? Mm-hmm. And JM had decided to pick, or the size of government has shrunk to a level that if they are even picking all of them, it means that 60 out of the 180-something or 120 of them will not have positions. That alone. That's why even with huge numbers, they say supermajority, sometimes they find it difficult even getting a quorum. So that is to say that it is not strange to see a reverse within a very short time. That's why you need to identify it, you need to work towards it, you need to target it, you need to make sure that you are able to resolve the problem as you move.
Another thing that you said that fascinated me was that you've also lost, quote, our media relationship. I
don't want to use it as an example.
No, but what did you mean by that, though?
Oh, for instance, if you see, in our media spheres, sometimes the message sells when it is negative message, most often. So it is not surprising that Joy FM, when MPP is in government, will be seen as antagonistic to MPP, because it is MPP that is in charge of delivering the goods of the nation. So it is not also strange for us to be seeing Joy FM now to also becoming antagonistic to government in terms of the delivery of what has been put in charge of them. So that is where, as a party, you need to also take advantage of it by getting closer, not necessarily try to do things untoward, but be able to sell your message, be able to let them understand where you stand. That's why I would want to think, and as part of my project, I will do a periodic encounter with these stakeholders, particularly with the media.
That is, if you win the chairmanship?
If I win the chairmanship.
So as a chairman, you've been engaged in the media?
Obviously. I have been a friend of the media for all these years. So unless the new ones that...
Chairmen tend to hide. They leave the general secretary to do those.
Obviously, but chairman, depending on the weight of the issue at stake, sometimes have to also come in to support. But I don't think that if a chairman have a monthly media or stakeholders encounter, it only complements the work of the general secretary.
But how did you lose the media? I mean, I'm fascinated by that conclusion.
You should be telling...
Yeah, but it was your diagnosis.
You should be telling...
It was your if you say you lost it, then you must have had it once.
Yeah, I'm saying...
How did you lose it?
A lot of them that used to be, obviously, your friends, incumbency, disadvantage. Others may think that you are not getting what they were expecting, or the relationship that you used to have with them. You are not, because of other pressures of work. You are not being able to maintain that relationship. And it is normal in our body politics. So it is something that I'm so concerned about, because politics, what do? We sell our messages. And the media is the platform, the medium, to sell your messages. So if you are not able to establish cordial relationship that comes with trust, that comes...
Who do you blame for that?
Sometimes incumbency disadvantage.
That's an incumbency advantage.
No, sometimes
you have the resources.
It is rather, no. Sometimes even the sharing of the resources is a major problem.
I mean, I'm talking about as far as the media is concerned.
I'm saying that sometimes even it is the fact that you have the resources that creates problems for you.
How exactly?
Because if you are not very careful, others may think that you are giving them preferential treatment than others. You understand? And also being in government, Obviously, there will be few scandals here and there, and the way you manage it and the way you deal with them, you understand? And so it is not as easy as that. They're thinking that you have resources. Sometimes my diagnosis is that the more resources you have, the more you lose the election. You understand? I remember towards 2000, the cars that we were using were Tico and these VWs and all that. People work and was not depending on vehicles, was not depending on resources, and that brought us the victory. Towards 2016, then DC had everything. They were having doves for John Mama, girls for John Mama, all over the place, you understand? Sometimes more resources in our body politics, if it is not managed well, if it is not distributed well, if it is not appropriately distributed, rather become a disadvantage to the organization, particularly incumbent governments. Yeah.
And then you also now talk about yourself and what your qualities are. And still in this statement, you said the party is a very vehicle that carries us to our desired destination of victory. But if that vehicle is weak and lacks an experienced driver to steer it, even the strongest driver, into bracket the flag bearer, cannot reach the destination. This is a part that I highlight. Power is one when the party is strong and guided by tried and tested leadership in party management. But I found that curious because you believe you represent that tried and tested leadership. But the party rejected this same leadership in 2022 in favor of a relatively untested candidate at the time in Kodia Frimpong. Mm-hmm. So how do you square that circle?
No, that's decision of party. It can be wrong, it can be right. Because if you are not very careful, if you don't have consistency, particularly at the leadership level, and more so when your elections are done at a time that you have just 2.5 years to the general elections. If you are unlucky to elect an entirely new executive at the national level who have not been part of the running of the party, who have not been tested, who don't really, it will take time for them to come up with the realities of the situation. By the time they put their act together, they are in opposition. We've done, the election is over, you understand? Look at the current executives. If we are not lucky, and that's what I'm seeing, almost all of them, apart from the current general secretary who has indicated I want to contest again, and you let an entirely new set of executives who have not been tried, who have not been tested, who have not practically worked or run the party, you are going to fall into the same problem. You understand? So, and you are also...
You sound like you're campaigning for Kodia Frimpong.
Oh, no, I'm only making the...
Was that principle then benefits him?
No, I'm saying that he's the only person that I've heard. He and one of the vices and Nana B said you want to contest. But assuming you lose all of them and you get an entirely new set.
Which was the case in 2022, I think.
Which is almost the case, you understand. It will take time because some of these things are things that you acquire with time. Experience are not bought on this.
But you say the delegates know best. The delegates know best. And if they know best, you sold them the idea of, I'm qualified, I'm tried and tested, and they said they rejected you in 2022. Why do you think that they will accept you in 2026?
But I think the results also shows. You understand?
The election results of 2024.
The election results and matters arising after that.
You think it's a vindication of your point in 2022?
Yes, some of the issues, the reasons for not voting for me, with time has been vindicated. You understand?
Which ones exactly?
Which
ones exactly do you believe have been vindicated? I'm curious. Which ones exactly do you think have been vindicated?
Like, for instance, in terms of strategizing and ensuring that constituencies that are depending on the dynamics of the constituency, you get a candidate that will meet that dynamics. And if that is so, because if you look at our constitution, electing or getting a parliamentary candidate, the constitution says selection or election. You understand? So there are a lot of the decisions that we took by the National Council to ensure that we have stability, particularly in the year of COVID, for instance. We think that those decisions are the decisions that inure to our benefit. Because from hindsight, if you take all political parties that went, particularly in government, that went into election in the year 2020, New Patriotic Party is the only party that won in Africa. Throughout the world, only 5 political parties won, including New Patriotic Party. But all of them had reduced parliamentary presence as a result of the COVID. Because, for instance, we in New Patriotic Party, by March when the lockdown was imposed, we had not done our primaries. We have to do primaries in electoral areas. There's lockdown. You can't do mass campaign. Our main strength in 2016 was retail campaign. You couldn't do it in the year 2020. You understand? Even our conferences, we couldn't hold it. So we have to devise innovative ways of reaching out to the electorate. You understand? And so we took certain decisions that inure to our benefit, but most often those decisions are regarded as imposition of candidates on the electorate. But I think that was the best decision that we took. I didn't even have time to explain why we did those things and all that. So I suffered for it. But I think that with time, we've realized that there's a need for parties to be strategic in terms of who represent us. I'm talking about the need for us to win all our 87 that we hold now. What are the strategies that need to be done or used to maintain the 87? We need to win additional 53. And if you do the analysis of the 87 and it is likely you can even lose 10 out of the 87, it means that you are not targeting 53. You should target 63. And in targeting the 63, you need to take your opponent's candidate into consideration. You need to take who the appointees in the constituencies are. You need to take the tribal religious question in the constituency, case by case. You understand? To determine the kind of strategy and the kind of candidates that you need to get in order for you to be able to win. You understand? So these are considerations that if you don't, and you want to just go in blindfolded, you end up even not getting your 87.
And then you say finally that MPP needs to be rescued. Rescued from?
Rescued from this abysmal performance that we had in 2024. We had just less than 32% of parliamentary representation. If we had full numbers in parliament, there are certain things that goes through in parliament that will not go through. For instance, they imposed a levy on petroleum products. They did it within 24 hours. There wasn't major critique and review of the thing that was brought because our numbers were not enough to be able to kick against. Look at what happened with the vetting of the CJ. A CJ who can say that he convicted somebody. And instead of giving him 30 years, he felt that he was still young. And if you give this Atai 30 years, he may come back to see him alive and may harm him. Because of that, they gave him 70 years. I think that is very dangerous for our body politics. This is very dangerous for our justice delivery in this country. Because if a Chief Justice will give ruling based on his personal feelings and benefits, how many of the cases that go to him that will not be determined based on his personal benefits? This is very dangerous. This is something that I would have expected the president to have withdrawn him or parliament rejecting him.
Yeah, but your reps decided to walk out.
It doesn't matter.
On that particular committee. They could have raised that. They could have probed.
Why? And they also Ghanaians, the people who were there.
But that's why we have an opposition.
If there's miscarriage of justice, won't it affect them?
But that is why we have an opposition.
Won't it affect them?
That's why we have an opposition.
Yeah, that's why the opposition made their point.
But the opposition decided to walk out
the opposition made their
of that vetting.
The opposition made their point. The opposition feel that even the vetting wasn't necessary because there's a case that can have effect on what they are vetting the person for. So in our thinking, we think that they should have allowed, because the Constitution provides that you should have an acting CJ, so that he can still perform his function as acting CJ till that matter before the court is cleared. That's our position. So we think that if we get involved in doing, we were endorsing illegality. So I think that the position that the minority took was the perfect decision to take. You understand?
They lost an opportunity then to probe on the subject that you just raised.
No. What else, if we were even sitting there and raising these issues, considering the attitude of the majority, what would they do?
So you backed the walkout?
I'm saying, yeah, we walk out because we didn't want to legitimize illegality. You understand? So that is clear. But it doesn't prevent, but then they shouldn't have vetted him. They should have just get him to go. You understand? So if it turns out that the views of the nominee is injurious to the delivery of justice, must it go through? But so I can't imagine such a thing coming from the person who is supposed to ensure.
Well, the sentencing is discretion as a judge, and he exercises that discretion. And he believes it is not capricious and malicious.
Yeah, some discussions are dangerous.
I mean, it was his discretion, and he exercised
some discussions are dangerous. And that infringes on the rights of an individual. The person's crime is said that he should get 30 years in prison. Because of your personal inclination, you jail the person for 70 years. I don't think that this is right. I don't think this is fair. I don't think that the head of the judiciary must get himself into this. And this is thinking that it's not helpful.
Talking about your suitability for the chairmanship role, though, you are coming up against some formidable opponents when you look at those who have declared their intention. Paul Afoko has been there before as chairman. You have Stephen John himself, former chief tenancy minister, has been minister for so long. He's been there and done that. You have Boachi Jacko, former energy minister. Anybody knows him, no nonsense. Very formidable in the party. Ran for president before. You have Chairman Wontumi himself, who is rumored, he hasn't declared yet, rumored that he may be interested. That field there is a field of very competent, experienced people who all claim the same quality. You are touted now as tried and tested. What makes you unique? What puts you ahead of this field?
What makes me unique and puts me ahead of them is my track record. We are looking for a national chairman of the party.
Yeah.
We are looking for somebody who has been part and done it before.
Yeah, but Paul Afoko has been a national chairman before.
And won elections before.
Well, you guys hounded him out.
That won election before.
Well, you hounded him out before the 2016 elections.
It is a decision of National Council, and it is not about individual. It is a decision of the party. But we are talking about national chairman of the party. Somebody who has done, not somebody who has heard stories about things that are happening, somebody who has been following.
But if that's the case, then he's more qualified because he has been a chairman before.
But he hasn't won elections before. I, with my team, Freddie Blay, were the ones who put together the manifesto for 2016, who looked for resources, who resource our party, who train our party people to be able to monitor the election. We implemented for the first time the pink sheet tracking system, where for the first time in the history of an opposition party, within 18 hours, we were able to collate all our resources. It hasn't happened before. We even further enhanced it when we got to 2020, within 8 hours. Not only did we manage to get our resource, we got all the pink sheets in all the 36,000 polling stations. This is hard work from our team. So we are talking about people who have delivered, people who, in the midst of seemingly disunity in the party, people who, at some point, we couldn't even organize meetings. This is the kind of leadership we are talking about. If you are having steering committee meeting, you have to go to a hotel. And there are armor cars, as if we are going for war. We stabilized us.
And this was in the lead up to the 2016 elections. It was the most chaotic period in your party.
Very. But when we acted, we brought down this tension. We united the party behind a focus of winning the elections. We provided the logistics for us to win. We increased the capacity of our people, put in place one of the most prolific campaign messages and manifesto that's ignited the attention of the Ghanaian people. And we won the election landslide. You understand? So we are talking about proven track record, not trying or about to try. Because when you manage it and you are unable to manage it, how do you regard that as trying? With all the others, tell me which of them have managed this party to any successful end? Which of them? Yeah. They may have experience. Well, when we win power, some go into government. Except that... Can I finish? When we win power, some go into government and become ministers. That is okay. That is different from party management. You understand? When we win power, some decide to do other things. But we are talking about national chairman of the party and not MD for IMF or some other institution.
On that same score, in 2016, when you delivered the landslide victory, which is a fact, the next time around, you delivered a hung parliament.
Exactly.
You have to take the blame for that too.
No, it wasn't hung parliament.
Well, it was a hung parliament.
Almost hung.
Well, it was a hung parliament. You needed an independent candidate to flip it in your side.
Throughout the world, political parties in power lost elections.
Yeah, but I'm talking about 20.
That is 2020. But I'm saying that throughout the world, as a result of the pandemic, most political parties...
But COVID, no, that 2020, COVID was about to hit.
You don't know what you're talking about. I'm saying that lockdown was instituted in March 2020.
Yes.
We had not done our primaries. We have not done a lot of things. We have to improvise ways of making sure that we even campaign, you understand? And it is the reason why a lot of the political parties in government lost elections throughout the world. It is only 5 political parties, including New Patriotic Party. And all of them with reduced parliamentary presence. Look at Macron. In 2020, when he went to the election, he scraped through, lost parliamentary.
But John Boadu, to be a leader, you also have to be candid and accept where you take fault. In 2016, you take the credit for it. You repeated it here. In 2020, when you lost so many seats in parliament, you now say, "Oh, it's COVID. Blame COVID, not me."
I'm not saying blame. I'm saying that in the midst of the challenges, the constraints we found ourselves, this is the best we got out of it. And it is not only in Ghana. In most countries where the incumbent government... Look at Trump at that time. It is because of COVID that he lost the election.
The defeat had nothing to do with your leadership?
I don't think so. I don't think so, considering the kind of efforts we put into the elections. Look at Trump. Look at the way he managed the COVID situation. That led to that defeating and abysmal loss. You understand? If we had not done the right thing, if our government had not taken COVID as number one priority, to manage it the way we were able to...
But you should have been rewarded. Because at the time, you claimed that you had handled it. In fact, the world praised Akufo-Addo for its management of COVID that year.
But its effect...
So you should have been rewarded by the Ghanaian people.
I'm saying that its effect lingers on. Because one, reward from where? Where people are unable to make ends meet. It is only little support from government, and government measures not to get it escalate is the benefit that we had. But people had difficulties. And even that, we increased our votes, presidential votes, more than 1 million.
Yeah, Akufo-Addo was more popular than the parliamentary candidates at the time. I mean, he won more votes.
Well, to that extent, yes.
Yes, he did.
To that extent, yes. You understand? But Akufo-Addo doesn't campaign on his own. It is the party structures. Have you seen Akufo-Addo being polling agent before? Have you seen Akufo-Addo collating results before?
But here you are. You say party structures.
Can I?
When I isolated the presidency, because that obviously got more votes, and then you said that's party structures. But the end, when I isolated the MPs, you said, "Oh, it's COVID."
I don't think you are making...
No, but it's the same election.
The same
2020,
election. I'm saying that...
Akufo-Addo, as a presidential candidate, had more votes than your MPs when you put it cumulatively.
I'm saying that...
You say that is party structures.
This is party. Together, we delivered that results.
Yeah.
Just as what happened in 2024. Party together delivered the results that you see.
But in 2020,
and it is,
in Parliament, you lost ground. Isn't that also because party structures then failing the MPs?
We didn't lose ground. I'm telling you that most parties in the world, as a result of the constraints we had in the year 2020, lost elections. We won.
You did.
You don't appreciate that, eh?
You did, but you lost ground significantly in Parliament.
With a reduced margin.
Significantly.
With a reduced margin. Because that margin we had is the second highest in the history of our entire party. And that year is the highest vote we've ever gotten by the party. You understand? So I think that you must also appreciate the constraints that we went through. And if I tell you the kind of interventions that we did to even get to where we got, you'll be surprised about the kind of work that we did.
Are you concerned about the quality you're going to come up against?
No, but that's precisely the reason why I am John Boadu. You understand? I cannot go into such contest, a very important position of the party, and expect that you won't have such quality being part of the process. It tells you who the MPP is. You understand? So I'm even suspecting that others will
join. Yes, there's a rumor that others will join.
No point. But in terms of CV 1-to-1, I don't think
you think you're also superior.
Yeah, I think that
among the list, which of them gives you the chills?
As we even speak now, you don't even know which of them will.
Oh, I mean, so far, those who have declared.
No,
which of them
it's possible. We have just about 6
months. No, that's true. I mean, I'm not talking about the unknown we don't know.
I'm saying
but we know.
We have about 6 months to time.
Yes.
Which of them is John Boadu that gives all of them the sleepless nights? Because I am the one that can talk about credible, evidential achievements.
Yeah, but what about...
Of winning elections, of winning government, that most of them even got ministers out of the victory. You understand? So I think that we don't have to believe that.
So you don't see any of them as...
Oh, they are all good in their rights, in their spheres or in their career. They've done well on their own and all that. We are talking about national chairmanship.
But among the list, Paul Afoko raises a lot of eyebrows, obviously because of the history that he has in 20... Since you have talked about how difficult it was for you taking over when the leadership was dismantled and then you step in. It was difficult. He's back. What do you make of his decision to return? To contest you?
That's his decision.
You think his history plays him as a disadvantage and you an advantage?
I'm not too sure about the fact that the very people who voted for them may even not be there as we speak now. I'm not too sure about his involvement in body politics for the past 8-9 years. So let's see. I don't want to be personalizing this. I don't think it is right. This is an internal contest, and we need to manage ourselves such that after the election we can be united and work together. So I'm sorry, I don't want.
Have you seen the Global Info Analytics poll? Have you seen the Global Info Analytics poll for August? August 21. It says that John Boadu, you are in the lead with that. You haven't seen that poll.
I've seen that.
Global Info Analytics. August 21st.
They do post
August 21st, to be very precise.
So that's the last one they did.
I believe so.
Yeah.
It says you have 32. The closest you, and this was just asking MPP supporters, they didn't go with a set list, but they asked them, choose who you think can be. And you, 32. You have Incumbency, who hasn't declared to contest, though, but his name, somebody put his name.
All of us had not declared then.
Yes, exactly. Come think of it. But again, your name was leading there. 32. That vindicates your position that you are, but among the party's rank and file, you are favored. Because
I've worked with them, right from polling station, constituency, region. My achievements are all over. I was the first person and the only administration that managed to support on a monthly basis. That has happened before. Support the constituency, support the region, support our communicators. That was the first time. We were the first person when we won. Most of our officers had one position or the other, depending on their background. It is true that the NDC is also copying. You understand? So we've done so much. For party people, they know what we've done. They know where we brought them from. They know the challenges that we passed through. And they know that nobody in this party will ever tell you John Boadu is not an effective leader. Nobody. They will talk about other things. You understand? But not working for the party and not effective. That one is out of it. You understand? So considering where we are, the analysis that I've done, and where we find ourselves, I think that I'll be in the better position to provide leadership and vision for the next elected officers in order to ensure that the victory that we are looking for will not be later than 2028. It should be 2028.
I mean, because this is Global Info Analytics, I've heard many within your stock criticize Global Info Analytics, say it's not credible. This validates your own belief. And I'm pretty sure you're polling too, because you're a man of science. You were director of research once. You obviously see this definitely as credible.
I normally does not say it's credible or not.
Okay.
What I normally take out of these polls is the reason for the decisions that the people took. And whether or not the reasons are valid. And these reasons are reasons that you need to re-emphasize if it is positive for you. If it is negative, you need to work on. You understand? That's why when you ask, I ask, when was that?
August 25th.
I've seen.
So you disagree with those who in your party who rubbish Global Info Analytics and claim they're doing a political hatchet job, etc.
No, they may have reasons for saying so.
But you disagree?
I personally, from my strategic standpoint, I don't rubbish in a poll. I'll even look at it and look at what are the reasons, what are the questions, what is the sample size? Is the sample size enough to produce such results? And I think that it is important that it is not because I was leading or I'm leading. No, that's not part of the question. Because even as we speak now, a lot more will join the race. Even as we speak now, even delegates to the elections have not been elected. Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
We are now going to finish the 31st January
primaries of presidential
polls, then start polling station elections.
What do you make of that inversion of the structure? It has been inverted now, where you're going to now, before yours is going to be considered.
Well, for me, the party has taken a decision.
I know, but what's your personal view?
No. The party has taken a decision. And the constitution of the party mandates us to always project and abide by decisions.
You were in the National Council when the decision was taken?
Abide by the decision.
Were you there when the decision was taken?
Yes, I was there when...
Did you vote for it?
Not necessarily, but I'm saying that...
So you disagreed with the majority?
That's the decision of the party.
I know.
And the reasons advance.
So you disagree with the majority?
Not the point. That's not the point. I'm saying that you don't come out as a party and when a decision is taken, you say, I disagreed. The moment decision, all of us, is a decision of the party.
It's a group decision, but in that group, individuals have their own position on the matter.
It's unnecessary. I don't have to come back and be raising why I may think it is wrong or it is right.
But suffice to say, you didn't vote with the majority position.
I'm saying that it's a decision of the party. And as a party person, true party person, I have a duty to project and publicly defend decisions of the party.
But that decision...
And that is exactly what I'm doing.
That decision has consequences. Long term, does this benefit your push to regain power, to reset, to resurrect?
We've not even experimented it even once. So let's see. The process is on. We'll do the elections in...
what does your gut tell you?
January 2026. The process of reorganization of the party structures will also be on. Let us see. You see, one thing you must realize that this constitution does not give any role to the presidential candidates. So even if when he's elected or he's elected, he cannot take unilateral decisions. You understand? He's still a member of the steering committee. So that will work. In my honest view, and the position they espouse so strongly is about the fact that we should do it early in order to avoid or get elections at a later stage that will make reconciliation very difficult and bringing people together very difficult because it will be at the neck of elections. So that is
the other argument is that whoever is later flag bearer will then have a say, as they tend to do, in who gets into the leadership position for the party at the national level, general secretary, national, because they want people there who they can work with.
If you are not very careful, that will be the reason why those people will also lose the elections. If you are not very careful. If it comes out that presidential candidates want people that they want to control, for instance, or want people that they feel they will be comfortable with, that will even anger the electorate or the delegates. So it's a complex thing. It can go either way. So let us look at it. Because even if we're not doing it that way, they will still have a say because they are interested. They will be the ones to elect them. You understand? So
yeah, but
it's not as
if you were electing a John Boadu national chairman before the presidential primary, nobody has any God-given right to be the presidential candidate, and so at that time nobody's controlling. But this time you have a presidential candidate.
No. The only advantage
so he will dictate, or he will like to control the process.
You don't know the New Patriotic Party. The only advantage we will have gotten is that all the five will have supported all the candidates. You understand?
Yeah,
that will spread out. But this time around, but depending on the vision of the other candidate, even though some may, obviously, 4 of them will lose. Some may target 2032. So they will be interested in seeing who becomes the officers from the constituency up to national level. So don't be surprised that you end up getting a presidential candidate who will not necessarily be interested in who becomes what. Rather, those who may have lost, having an eye to contest again, will be the ones. So there are lots of scenarios that comes out of this decision. And it's a decision that we are experimenting for the first time. Let us see how it goes. Because I can say that this campaign, in terms of the vitriolics, is less as compared to the 2023 one. The only challenge that I see...
You mean the presidential?
The presidential. The only challenge that there are a few of them, you can mention some of the supporters and the kind of things that they are saying, which I think is wrong. The only challenge that I see is our lack of effective disciplinary process that enables decision to be taken as early as possible.
Explain what you mean by that.
What I mean by that is that if someone make a statement that is not right, we don't have a mechanism that will be able to deal with that kind of petition or disciplinary process expeditiously. We have to still go through our normal disciplinary process.
Which our constitution dictates.
Yeah, which our constitution dictates. But we could have done or get a system that will have dealt with it. Because,
separate from what the Constitution prescribes?
The Constitution also allows the Presidential Election Committee and the National Council to develop rules and regulations to guide an event like the presidential elections. I'm saying that if you look at what the Constitution provides, assuming I have a petition against you, what I do is to write to the General Secretary. The General Secretary have to wait and take that petition to the National Executive Committee, for the National Executive Committee to determine whether there is prima facie given case, either to reject or even refer to the disciplinary committee. If the matter is referred to the disciplinary committee, after the work of the disciplinary committee, they bring their recommendation back to National Executive Committee through the General Secretary. He has to also wait till National Executive Committee, and National Executive Committee is done at least once in a quarter. So if you are not very careful, a petition of such nature in the presidential election can take 6 months, depending on the number of times a National Executive Committee is held. You understand? So that's why you see...
So you want the party they should set up a separate disciplinary body.
We should have had something
to superintend
like
over the campaign.
So that we will have dealt with...
Expeditiously? You want expedition in dealing with...
Yeah, to serve as a deterrent. It's not just the punishment. To serve as a deterrent, so that it will not get people to be bold because we are not able to deal with those matters.
But that is an indictment of the current leadership of the party.
Oh, not necessarily. Not necessarily. It is something that they try putting together a BAC committee, but it wasn't very effective. You understand? It wasn't very effective. But I think that we are learning. There are a lot of things that, as we move on, things are changing. Politics, the face of politics are changing.
Yeah, but
For instance,
have you called your current executive and told them this?
No, you can't do it now. It's almost moot.
Why? You still have at least 2 months before...
It's almost.
It's too late.
It's something that we should have. Yeah, we should have.
But it's not too late, is it? It's not.
For instance, look at amendment motions that we did.
Yeah.
What the Constitution provides is that people put in their motions or their amendment proposals. This is compiled by the party. In the process, the party decided to form a committee to help in compiling so that they can synchronize the compilation. Because some may be similar and all that. That was done. It was done in a manner that people didn't have opportunity to respond to what was there. And the way the setup was done, it will be difficult if you disagree. It is only out of the lot, I think only one, that people disagree. But I believe that even after the conference, a lot of people had some few issues. We could have, in this modern times, we could have opened up and allow people get this ready in time, allow people who have concerns or counter motions to have put in, even if we were not going to be able to allow them to openly do that. Their counter motion should have come with this so that party take decisions. This forward thinking, this is something that I think that as we move on, we have to be looking at that in terms of amendment of our constitution. You understand? So these are things that as you run organization, there's a need for you to be looking at how best you run the entity such that you get the maximum effect. And this is just an example that I've given.
John Boadu is my guest. He's vying to be national chairman of the NPP. I'm going to take a break. When I return, I'll ask him his thoughts about current issues. I mean, if he wants to lead the NPP, that's the party in the government in waiting. He must have thoughts on some of the key big issues. One of the things that have come up is his own former colleagues. A lot of them are being accused of some wild corruption. I wonder what his thoughts are on that. And it's something he said on the 6th of March that I'm interested in. He talks about his time at as a general secretary, and he says, as for general secretary, I'm tired of that position. He says the insults that come with it are too much, so I won't contest for that. And no wonder he's going to the national chairman. I'm going to ask him his thoughts on. You should tell me a sense of how difficult is it to be general secretary of the NPP, and does he have any sympathies for the current guys who lost so woefully in the 2024 elections? My guest, John Boadu, stay with me. And thank you for staying with us here on PM Express. My guest is John Boadu. He is aspiring to be national chairman of the NPP. He's been there before as general secretary. And I'm curious why he didn't go again as a general secretary of the party, because you know what they say about general secretaries, they're the chief executives of the party. That's the engine room of the party. But you said something that I guess gave me clarity on March 6th. You said, quote, as for general secretary, I'm tired of the position. The insults that come with it are just too much. I won't contest that again. As a national chairman, I will simply provide guidance to my executives. And my curiosity is, how difficult was it being a general secretary of the NPP?
You see, as General Secretary, you are almost the chief spokesperson of the party. You are the one who communicates decisions of the party, both steering, National Executive, National Council. And these are decisions of not only an individual, decisions of a body. And some of the decisions may not be popular decisions, you understand. But normally people in the parties look at it as if it is your own decision. I remember in 2017 when we had our first national delegates conference in Cape Coast. At that time, we've just won elections, and we are about doing the internal elections for the various positions. And so we foresaw that if we are not very careful, people will come there with their own individual T-shirts and flags and all that. We wanted to maintain that victory that we chalked in 2016. So National Executive took a decision that nobody should bring his own personal T-shirts. We should use the T-shirts of the president, the T-shirts of the vice president, or both. I was told that there were some people in the car on their way, because I issued that statement, on their way to Cape Coast. Hey, John Boadu, I know why. That be no bad party. Now, I don't never mind. You understand? Those kinds of things. Sometimes it goes very, very hard. And I think that I've done enough. Youth organizer, acting general secretary, almost about 7 years. I think that with the experience that I've acquired on the ground, on the job, I'll be able to provide the leadership and vision in order to guide the new executives that will be elected. And also, by strategizing very well, be able to do the needful by winning majority in parliament, and the presidential become a bonus for it. So I think that at this
But to win that
stage,
ultimately,
at this stage, it's important.
To win that ultimately,
I do that to help the
you
party.
must deal with one of the biggest challenges you face is the brand appeal. Brand appeal that is also currently under significant stress because of all the revelations we've heard about corruption under the previous administration. You heard the NSS scandal, the SkyTrain, the Dubois-Hing, the buffer stock, jaw-dropping allegations. First of all, tell me, when you hear these, are you surprised by the extent of corruption that is alleged happened under the NPP?
I like the word alleged, because when these things started, for instance, if you take that of MPA, initially when the Attorney General did, the OSP did his press conference, it mentioned some 3-point-something billion. Now it's been reduced around 300 billion, you understand? So as for the figures, we must be very, very careful about it, because we saw the press conference that was done by the Attorney General listed some properties, this house. But if you look at the charge sheet, there's nothing like that in terms of having acquired these properties and as a basis that they are being charged for, you understand? So we must be mindful of that. Secondly, for us as New Patriotic Party, we are a party that believes in the rule of law. We are a party that believes in constitutionalism. We are a party that believes in the human rights. We are a party that believes that state resources must be used for state activities. State resources cannot be used for private activities. So if it turns out that some individuals of our party have done something untoward, that's why we have the Constitution. That's why we have the law. The only challenge we have is about the fact that initially you saw the Rambo-style of trying to arrest people, which will have created an impression for even armed robbers to have been involved, because nobody shows you anything. They come to your house. Look at what happened in the house of the former finance minister, for instance. You understand? Those kinds of arrests, I think that was not proper. Secondly, people that are alleged to have committed a crime are crucified in the media before they are sent to the courts. I think it's unfair. Thirdly, if you manage to be sent to the courts and the court gives you a bail, the condition attached to your bail in some cases requires that you bring Jesus Christ before you are removed.
But that's a decision.
So, for instance, no.
And the discretion of a court of competent jurisdiction.
Fantastic, but we can also raise issues about that. We can always raise issues about that. If someone is given a bail and is asked to provide surety amounting to close to 800 million Ghana cedis, must the person go and bring Buckingham Palace or White House? How many people, how many individuals in this country have such properties? It's not even assuming they really stole the money. They are in there. How are they going to, their accounts has been freezed. How are they going to even bring the money that they stole and use it as surety? I think it's unfair. You've also freezed the accounts. Every individual in this country, until convicted, have the right for legal representation. You freeze the accounts. Even if somebody is prepared to give his property, the person is not going to use his money to go and do valuation for you to determine the value of the property. The individual that has been charged is the one who must pay, and it is running between 200,000 to 400,000. You freeze the person's account. How do you expect the person to be able to raise the money to be able to meet the bail condition? To that extent, give to Awari. For the past 3 weeks, it is today. 3 weeks, it is today because of the bail conditions. I think that those ones...
It is today that she managed to walk out of detention?
Is that?
What happened? You say it's today, or what is it?
I mean, it's today that he's been able to satisfy all the bail conditions.
But she's not been in detention.
He's been in detention all along.
The time.
All along, he's been in detention. Since last 3 weeks, Wednesday. You understand? So I think that it's important we also look at this. We've seen situations where huge sums of money has been alleged to have been squandered. But we had never seen such huge amounts as bail condition. Nobody in our party, if the people are found guilty, nobody will go and defend such people. We went picketing.
Yeah.
We went.
And you were part of those
yes,
too?
I was, because if you arrest somebody and you have not charged the person, and the mandatory 48 hours elapse, and you still don't release the person, I don't think that
on that point, early this year, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, the former president, said to all his appointees that they should not run from accountability.
Fantastic.
Should Ken return then? Because he's now a wanted man and he's fugitive from the law.
Should Ken return?
Ken Ofori-Atta, former finance minister.
If he must return, he will return.
Yeah.
That's his own, because that's his
He's
own...
not a wanted man.
No, that's his own decision.
Should he turn himself in to Ghanaian
just
authorities?
as Sedinam has been convicted already, she hasn't returned. You understand? Just as, like you are saying, he must return if you want to.
If he wants to?
No, if you think that you get fair hearing. If you think that...
You think he will?
For what is happening, if National Service Director can get a bail condition of 800 million, can Ofori-Atta will get to 5 billion bail condition? I don't think it's fair. We must... So
you will advise that he returns, turns himself
It's not my advice, but it is what the situation is. But like I told you, nobody in the New Patriotic Party is encouraging or is even happy or will go and defend anybody who have squandered state resources.
You're not defending Ken Ofori-Atta?
No. Why would I defend? There's no charge before us.
Okay.
Now we don't know what he has done, even if he has done anything.
Okay.
You've seen the banter between the OSP and the Attorney General. They've not been able to even prepare a docket as we speak now. So why will I tell Ofori-Atta to come if you don't even know the docket?
John Boadu is aspiring to be national chairman of the MPP. I'm grateful.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best in your campaign.
Thank you.
Okay. But have you set a date for your elections, the national executive elections?
Not yet.
But sometime middle of next year?
Yeah, I suspect that.
Middle of next year.
The January 31st.
And then your date to be set for that. Okay.
Maybe middle of the year.
Next year. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.